everybody. I have got Bill with me today, and we're going to be talking about all things Hyland Software. But before we dive into that, Bill, can you give everybody a quick introduction?
Sure, Emma. It's good to be with you. Thanks for having me on. As you said, I'm Bill Priemer. I'm the President and Chief Executive Officer at Hyland. Hyland is a software developer. We're a leading developer of content services software. We'll get into what that is a little bit later. We're headquartered in Cleveland, Ohio, so we've got similar winter weather to you folks in Madison. This time of year. I am a native Clevelander. I joined Hyland 24 years ago. At that time, we had 30 employees, and today we have more than 4,000. We're privileged to serve and support about 16,000 organizations all over the world that are running our software and relying on it for really mission-critical processes and operations. Increasingly, in this time over the last year of the COVID dynamic, our software is serving to support virtual interactions among an organization's staff and employees, but also virtual interactions with their customers and clients. We support our customers, of course, in close collaboration with our partners. We're fortunate to partner with about 400 organizations all over the world, and the most important of which, of course, and my favorite is Naviant. So again, great to be with you today.
That's what I like to hear, Bill. I'm pleased that we're in the top tier there. Well, thank you for joining me. And I think just to get us started, I want to go to the very basic level, and you alluded to it, but talking a little bit about what a content services platform is and how it helps organizations.
Yeah, well, you'll see all kinds of, definitions, about formal definitions of what a content services platform is, and they'll talk about microservices and APIs and multiple constituencies and big words. But I'd say, and I think our customers view a content services platform as a place where an organization's documents and other digital content, increasingly photographs, video files in a healthcare setting, could be an ultrasound or an X-ray, but it's all digital content. And a content services platform is where that content resides. It's where it is secured and backed up and restricted so that only those that have rights to access it can access it. But for those people, it's very intelligently organized with very intuitive ways to get at that information. So users can find the exact right information they're looking for very quickly, very easily, and that allows them to accomplish their work. But a content services platform goes beyond that. It's also a process management application where you can build workflows that route relevant content through an operational process. So you think about routing employment applications or invoices for approval or insurance claims. These are all content-centric processes, and our workflow application was built for exactly those kinds of processes. And then at Hyland, our content services platform, we take it even further. So we also offer a low-code application development platform where a customer or their solution provider, such as Naviant, can very quickly build a discrete application that may or may not involve content. It could be an IT ticketing system or a contact tracing applications. Those, as you might imagine, become very popular in this last year. So we really view a content services platform as being a real pillar of any organization's application infrastructure. I mean, you think of, you've got an accounting or ERP system for your transactional and financial data. You have a CRM system or something like it for your customer data. You've got some kind of a human capital management system for your employee data. There may be one or two other, primary applications, but then you've got this content services platform that links documents to all of that other information in those systems, and also handles the processes and the workflows that those applications don't handle natively. So that's our definition and view of what a content services platform is.
Wonderful. One other visual that I like to give to people in addition to that pillar is the idea of a puzzle piece that locks into all of those other components and brings all of your information together. I'm going to do a little bragging on Hyland's behalf and talk about the fact that you guys are consistently ranked from Gartner and the like in the top tier of these applications. I think we're going on over a decade of being a leader in the Magic Quadrant. So, what has Hyland done to gain and remain in that leader spot all these years?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. Well, one is just longevity, right? We've been at this for 30 years, and that's a pretty long time, for a technology company. But along that 30 years, we've been very intentionally focused on the content management space. And back in the day, we called it integrated document management, or we called it content management. But we focused on just this kind of technology, and it's all that we have done. So it's all we've organically developed. It's all that we have acquired, and there have been about 20 companies over that course of time that we have acquired to add capabilities to our platform. And we've been focused not only on this kind of technology, but on the particular use cases. So what is the application of content services for a bank or a credit union or a hospital or a property and casualty insurer or a college or a university? And we focused on those specific use cases, and our partners have as well. So I think that focus has been very unique across the industry. A lot of our competition does other things in addition, to content services. I would say another thing that we've had, going for us is our partner network and relationship with organizations like Naviant. We can't be expert in every industry that there is out there. So the application of our technology to the energy space, if you're an oil and gas company, or for a real estate firm, or a construction company, our partners have specialized in those niche kind of uses and applications. And we can't provide the high touch services that customers need in a particular region of the country, or in another country outside of the U.S. And so, our partners enable us to reach just the broadest cross section of customers that we possibly can. Another great thing about our partner network, and again, Naviant fits so well into this, is that for our partners, content services is not just something that they dabble in. It's not one of dozens of things that they do. If you were to ask, Naviant, what does your company do? Content services is one of the main things, if not the main thing you do from a solution standpoint. And Hyland is one of, if not the primary vendor that you work with. So, our partners don't just offer our technology, they are as expert in our technology as Hyland is, and that makes it work so well. And I would just say maybe the third thing is a real customer orientation, and that's on the part of Hyland and our partners. I think a lot of technology vendors will tend to think that all you really need is technological superiority, But we know that successful solutions involve, yes, technology, but people, like people collaborating with each other on requirements definition and implementation and testing and refinement. And that takes, smart, committed people who not only know their stuff, but are like communicative, team-oriented, respectful, responsive. And that's the way that you produce a solution that is truly transformative, and that our customers end up being just thrilled with. And not all of our customers are that way, but you and I both know that that's what we aspire for. Just thrilled customer experiences.
That idea of people, when we have these conversations, even though we're always talking about digital transformation and software during these conversations, people at the center of it continually come up, and that is, I think, the golden nugget that I'm gleaning from all of these conversations, is you have to focus on the people, even if you're using the word digital in your transformation.
Yep. Yes, no doubt.
As we look at our industry, and again, being around for 30 years, you guys know a thing or two about changing and keeping pace with the industry. And I certainly talk a lot about intelligent automation and how that's going to shift and change our industry. Can you share a little bit with us about how you guys are adapting to these new trends of intelligent automation and bringing them into the solution suite?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think this whole idea of automation is a wave that's coming to knowledge worker settings, very similar to how it has transformed manufacturing and manufacturing processes, all over the world. A really big deal for us right now is that we are now offer our own RPA tool. So RPA stands for robotic process automation, and it's a tool that is used to automate routine computer-based tasks that are currently done by humans today. So an example would be a person who's got to go into another system to look up an ID number from a CRM system, say, and then populate that into an electronic form that drives a workflow. Or a person who's got to go out to an external website to take a look at a credit score so you can enter that credit score into a loan origination system. And sometimes those tasks can be programmatically integrated, but that takes work and programming and coding and API sets. Well, an RPA does that very quickly through point and click configuration, and then automates those formerly human tasks. It reduces time and it reduces errors. And so our offering came to us through acquisition. We acquired a company just last year called Another Monday. They were based in Germany, and the product is just outstanding. And one of the differences is that it was developed as a true RPA offering from the ground up. This organization was a systems integrator working with several large corporate clients, including notably Deutsche Telekom, working with them to automate processes, and built this RPA tool in light of some of the inadequacies they were seeing from some of the other tools in the market. One of the just realities about the RPA market is that a lot of the popular tools were evolved from software testing automation suites, really not purpose built for this kind of task automation. So we're thrilled to be offering this to new and existing customers. And I think the place that we're looking to add additional degrees of automation, maybe first, is in our workflow processes, where our life cycles often stop at people because a person has to do just those kind of tasks that I mentioned earlier. Well, if we can automate those tasks, we can make that process faster and more efficient, more consistent, and more accurate. So we're thrilled to be introducing our RPA offering, as you know, to both existing and new customers. And another area of I would say workflow-centered automation, where we're putting a lot of R&D work, is where machine learning and artificial intelligence can mimic and eventually replicate human decisions, not just human tasks, but human decisions. So, in say an invoice processing solution, for example, even though we have three-way matching today, those processes often stop at a person who's got to look at the invoice and look at the PO and look at the proof of delivery and look at the purchase request. And based on all that information, data, and in documents, decide to approve, reject, route this invoice to that department or to this department. Well, today's AI engines, and we're not developing the engines themselves, but we're integrating to them. Well, they can learn what combination of data and events led to the decisions that people are making. They can watch and they can learn and develop and refine the algorithms to replicate those decisions, to first perhaps suggest that decision to a participant in a workflow. But eventually, if they have enough success at suggesting the right decision, we can take the person completely out of the equation, and the system can make that decision instead of the person. Another example is we're working with, we're the market leader in colleges and universities, and a very common application for us is the admissions and the enrollment process. Well, one of the things that's happening with the Common App application now, the largest and the most popular and selective schools, like the University of Wisconsin, well, their applications are absolutely skyrocketing, and they really don't have the bandwidth to keep up with all the reading of all those application packages. Well, those decisions are based on data, test scores, and high school courses and grades and demographics. And the system today can even read the essay, first of all, identifying whether it was actually written by, a 17-year-old, but then secondly, really getting a sense of what that kid is all about, and then use that data to make a decision as to whether that student, should be offered, a spot in next year's class. So, workflow automation is going to have, as I said at the top, the effect of just like it's had in manufacturing automation, moving people from these processes over time and making them faster and less expensive and more consistent and more accurate. So you're exactly right. Intelligent automation is one of the really exciting next waves in the content services space.
Well, thank you so much for sharing a little bit into the R&D that's going on and exciting new things that we can see coming from Hyland, and also just helping us understand, for anybody that's new to the game, what Hyland Software brings to the market. And, I speak for everyone at Naviant in saying we're really lucky to have the partnership that we have with Hyland and the strong tool set to bring in for our customers to help solve their problems. But thank you again for joining me, Bill. And for anybody that's interested in learning a little bit more about Hyland, pop over to Bill's LinkedIn, reach out to anyone at Naviant. As he alluded to, we are Hyland experts, and we can certainly help point you in the right direction. But have a wonderful day, everybody. If you're looking for expert tips on how to get started with your transformation or looking to hone in on your approach, make sure that you subscribe to our channel to catch our weekly Digital Transformation Talk series, where we interview experts from around the world on how to make it happen.